So you've probably used a chatbot, right? Maybe you feel like you've got a handle on what AI can do. Well, get ready, because we're about to talk about the next massive leap forward. We're talking about AI agents, systems that don't just answer your questions, but actually get to work and achieve goals all on their own. Let's get into it.
But here's the thing, with all that power comes a lot of complexity. As this quote from Hatchworks AI points out, it's one thing to build a cool little demo, but it's another thing entirely to build something that's actually reliable and safe. Getting this right is about real, disciplined engineering, not just trying to write a clever prompt.
So here's our game plan for this explainer. We're going to start by defining what an agent really is. Then we'll peek inside its mind to see how it thinks. We'll look at where they're being used right now, and then, the best part, I'll give you a practical playbook for designing them effectively. Finally, we'll look at what all this means for the future. All right, first things first, we need to get our terms straight. You hear the word agent thrown around a lot these days, but it means something very specific, and it's what sets these systems apart from the AI tools you might be used to. Here it is, the core definition. An AI agent can perceive its environment, make its own decisions, and take actions to achieve a goal. Now, the key phrase here, the one I really want you to focus on, is minimal human intervention. Think about that for a second. This isn't a tool that's just waiting for your next command. It is proactively figuring out the steps all by itself to get a job done. And this table just lays it out so clearly. Let's look at that top row. Autonomy. A bot? Low. An assistant? Moderate. But an AI agent? High. Completely independent. Same thing for decision making. This is the fundamental difference. An agent isn't just reacting to you. It's proactive. It's making its own choices to reach a goal. That, right there, is the game changer.
So how in the world does an agent pull this off? How does it get to that level of autonomy? Well, it's not magic, it's all about the architecture. So let's pop the hood and take a look at the cognitive framework that actually powers these things.
Whew, okay, I know this diagram looks a little intense, but don't worry about understanding every single box. Here's the big takeaway. An agent isn't just one single brain. It's a whole system of interacting parts. It has different kinds of memory, memory for skills, memory for facts, and memory of what's happened before. All of that feeds into a central reasoning engine, and it has a toolbox it can use to interact with the world.
And all of those components work together in this continuous, really elegant loop. This is the agent's core cycle. It plans, it acts, and then it reflects. It takes a big goal, breaks it down into small steps, and then it executes one of those steps. And here's the crucial part. It reflects on the outcome. Did that work? What did I learn? This lets it adapt and get smarter over time, which is what makes it so much more powerful than a simple script.
Okay, enough with the theory. Where is this stuff actually being used? Where are agents making a difference today? Let's look at some of the real-world applications that are already changing the game. The answer is pretty much everywhere. In customer service, they're going way beyond simple chatbots to manage the entire customer experience. In R&D, they're literally running autonomous labs to speed up scientific discovery. And in business, they're optimizing incredibly complex things like global supply chains and even making trades in the financial markets. And here's a brilliant example of that proactive nature we were talking about. An agent can monitor all of your customer communications, analyze sentiment trends, and flag a customer who might be unhappy weeks before they even think about filing a complaint. It's about solving problems before they even become problems. And the economic impact of this is just huge. Research from McKinsey shows that agentic AI is creating the most value in 4 key areas. Customer operations is number 1, followed closely by marketing and sales, software engineering, and R&D. This is where the autonomous workforce is already making a massive difference. All right, now for what might be the most practical part of this whole thing. If you're feeling inspired and want to build your own agents, how do you do it the right way? How do you avoid those flaky, unsafe systems we mentioned at the start? This right here is the number 1 most important thing to remember. Building a good agent is an engineering discipline. It is not a prompt writing contest. Trying to stuff all of your logic into one gigantic, messy prompt, well, it's like building a house of cards. It's fragile and it's just bound to collapse. You have to build a solid architecture. Here is a perfect example of what I mean. Let's say you have a rule. Only admins can delete users. On the left is what not to do. Don't just bury that rule in a bunch of text. The agent might misunderstand it. Instead, do what's on the right. Build a specific tool for deleting users. That tool's job is to check the permissions and handle the logic.
The agent's only job is to decide when to call that tool. This separation is absolutely fundamental to building a robust system.
So, to boil it down for you, here are 3 top best practices. 1. Start small. Don't try to boil the ocean, solve one single, clearly defined problem first. 2. Break down the complexity. A team of specialized agents working together is almost always better than one giant agent trying to do everything. And 3. Build in observability from the very beginning. You need to be able to track every single decision and action your agent takes. And a final, absolutely critical principle for safety: always keep a human in the loop. Autonomy is amazing, but for really high-stakes actions, things like deleting customer data or spending company money, the agent should propose the action, but a human needs to give that final okay. It's a vital safeguard.
Whew, okay. We've covered a ton of ground here, from the basic definition of an agent all the way to the nitty-gritty of how to build one. So let's pull it all together now and think about what's coming next.
If you remember anything from this, remember these key points. First, agents are all about autonomy. They are proactive and goal-oriented. Second, they think and adapt using that plan, act, reflect loop. Third, building them well is a real engineering challenge, not just a prompt writing game. And finally, the best way to get started is to start small, break down the problem, and always, always keep humans in control of the big decisions. An agent doesn't have to be perfect to create incredible value. It just has to be a little bit better, a little bit faster, or a bit more efficient than whatever you're doing now. We've seen what they are, and we've seen how they work. So the question isn't really about whether this technology is powerful. The real question I want to leave you with is this: what problem will you solve first?